Yeah, so welcome. Um, let's start with a little bit of, like I mentioned, connective practice. This is something I've been using lately in person, but also in Zoom. Seems to work pretty effectively. And it's simple. It's just a kind of internal calibration where um, we'll start with just thinking of, or sorry, just being aware of either a sensation, thought, emotion that's present right now. And you kind of just scan. We're going to play a little game, kind of like passing it around. Doesn't have to go in a circle or anything. It's just whatever pops up for you, you're just going to mention it. It does not have to relate to the previous person's statement. So it's not, doesn't have to be coherent, but it might relate. If I say, super excited about the weather, you might go, oh, yeah, me too, that kind of thing. But we're trying to let go of story. We're not really trying to make it really mean much. It's just what's here, what's present. So a little bit of a mindfulness share. And the structure I use for it is um, so an example is being with you guys right now. I'm noticing I'm actually pretty warm. Like I was kind of racing around before this, and as I'm sitting down, noticing this heat coming up from my center kind of out. That's an example. And then from there, you could pick it up and just say, hearing that, I notice whatever it is. That's the game.
Hearing that, my mouth is really warm because I just ate some chips and salsa.
Hearing that, I am really surprised to be happy to be home after traveling for 3 weeks and seeing Ben and Danny's faces. Yeah, feels like home, makes me happy. Sorry, David, I don't know you yet.
Oh, that's
Next week.
all right.
Next week you'll be home too.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. Right. Right now I'm just looking at this glass of apple juice that I have right here. And that's what I got.
There it is. That's the game, man. Hearing that, I'm feeling relieved that you kind of caught on to what's going on and hopefully feel more comfortable. We're not doing this the whole time, by the way. This is just a warm
Oh
up.
yeah. I was like, is it my turn?
There's no turns.
Oh, okay. Just
go. Yep.
popcorn style. I'm feeling excited to be here, coming from what Michelle said. It feels like home too, and excited to get to know you more, David.
Hearing that, I'm noticing that I miss you, Danny,
Aw,
and
that's why I got on.
and miss your voice. Yeah.
Well, I miss you. And then Michelle was a bonus.
So hearing that, I've spent the last 3 months thinking about who I am outside my job and really realizing how much I miss my community that I had in Squam, both through Tribal Edge and yoga and other groups there. So it's so nice to be with you.
Hearing that and noticing I'm slowing down inside and feeling kind of excited about being with you guys. But calmer.
Yeah.
Hearing that, I'm caring less about the noise downstairs.
Hearing that, I'm glad I live alone.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, hearing how you guys were saying about like you feel like home together and that you miss each other. I'm like wondering how well everyone knows each other and what the history is. And yeah,
Oh, David, we'll catch you up.
okay.
Don't worry.
Hearing that
Awesome.
makes me happy about my Tribal Edge years. Hearing his comment makes me like, oh, I'm glad I've known Ben forever.
Hearing that, I also want to reassure David that, well, we've all been very scattered for several years, and you can always come home or find new home.
I also have a little guest that wants I have a guest that wants to say hi. He's not little.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
Wait, is that
I
Ken
just
Wilber
walked in, so I
or
don't know
Grant?
what's going on.
Do you live with Jean-Luc Picard? Is that what's happening there, Danny?
I was thinking Ken
Who's your
Wilber.
new husband?
Either
Hi,
way,
Grant.
a stud. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Are you hanging out? Are you
Um,
going?
yeah,
You
yeah.
hanging out? He's gonna hang out. We're just
Alright,
doing
cool.
popcorn style. How you
Okay,
feeling?
okay.
Kind of. Or what are you
Yeah, I think
noticing?
actually perfect timing. I think we'll wrap that part up, guys. That's fun though. That's just to kind of to work out some of the wiggles of being on Zoom, you know, and not seeing each other for a while. David, you're new. It's just kind of it's actually to help build a little bit of rapport through this medium so that we can connect a little bit and then begin to talk about stuff that might matter a little more than say, you know, my nose is itchy or whatever I'm noticing. So, but that's the practice. And so it's something I've been installing into beginning of groups. And it's been pretty fun. Once you get used to it too, once you know the game, it's more fun, of course. So um so I think from there, why don't we just kind of do a little, so having done that, noticing that I'm more curious about you guys and what's going on for you right now, and maybe a deeper check-in with including a little story if you want. But so let's just go around and do a little share on, you know, what's it like to be you right now, what's going on. Doesn't have to be super deep and long, but maybe a couple minutes of, you know, what's yeah, what's up and how are you checking in. um Another little protocol I'm adding with check-ins is just to know when we're done. So if you can you know, if I'm sharing, for example, at the end of my share I might just go, and with that I'm in, or, you know, I'm here, or something like that. It lets us know that that's kind of your check-in. So let's check in. I'll let one of you go first, and I'll finish it. Whatever you want to share.
Are you gonna?
Just yeah.
Oh, fine, I'll start. I usually expect Danny to start. Hi, David. I'm Michelle. Been hanging out with the Tribal Edge crew for a little over a decade now. Left the Squim area quite some time ago and have since then been entirely too focused on my job, which I lost in January, which is the best thing ever. So been unemployed since January 19th, and it suits me just fine. Just got back from 3 weeks of travel and hanging out with my family. Before that, I was sleeping and meditating a lot. So it's been a really cool experience to reset my nervous system and remember who I am outside my job. So yeah, just got home from 3 weeks of being in Disneyland and London at a Star Wars convention, and then Sicily eating all the things, and then back in London, and now I'm hanging out with my cats and you guys, and it's really cool. So that's where I am. It's nice to be here.
Good to have you, Michelle. Yeah, you seem pretty lit up. Good for you.
Really, yeah, unemployment really suits me.
Hmm. I guess I could go next. Okay. Well, firstly, I should mention that the chair I'm sitting on is sort of falling apart as I speak, so I'm kind of nervous that at any point I'm just gonna like fall in the camera view. But okay, so if that happens, it's the chair. Yeah, I'm calling in from the East Coast of Canada, so it's nighttime here. It's 10 o'clock, and I came to this through the internet, to the through the wonders of the internet, and yeah, I'm just, I guess, searching for ways to connect with the earth, and yeah, sort of in a very long, drawn out transition period in my life, I guess. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Wondering what this is. But yeah.
Thanks for coming, David. I was stoked to see your name show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll just like share where I'm at, I guess. That what we're doing? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, I'd say I have lots of different things that I'm doing. One of them is being a father, got twins that are just over 2, and they're exciting for sure. And then Avery, who's 8, of course, and then I have Danielle here. And so yeah, there's that part of my life, of course, and then going just let's see, I guess 2017 is when I started my journey of flying, and yeah, and then just recently getting my flight instructor certificate, and yeah, and then just applying to all these different jobs and not really getting any. And it hasn't been that long, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, just and then kind of crazy. It's like I just kind of mentioned to like my old flight instructor that I was gonna be here, and he knew I was getting that, and then now all of a sudden, because I was like trying to avoid being my own independent flight instructor, but now tomorrow I'm going to move a plane from Port Townsend to Sequim, and then there's like already 3 students potentially already, and so just kind of taking the opportunities that are in front of me, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's like pretty cool, and then also just like some other tile jobs going on, and yeah, having to have part of my mind on those, and yeah, a kind of big home project, I guess, and trying to just balance these things out and maintain like centered in it and not just be like a jump these things, um, and yeah, and it's all kind of happening all at once, all of a sudden. So but yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it and excited, and yeah, things are changing, and yeah, it's good.
That's awesome,
That's it.
Grant.
Yeah.
I'm stoked you got students right away. Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wants to hire you for a tiling job and connect you to people that want flight lessons. So off some other time, let's connect and I'll find you more work.
Okay, sounds good.
Um, My turn?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm complete.
Okay,
Yep.
great. I'm Danielle, and it's my husband Grant, and I've known Ben since, I don't know, I was trying to think about this the other day, like 2005, I think, maybe 2004, 2005. And so I've been a big part of Tribal Edge for a lot of years, and then I had kids and change of career as far as pursuing less the primal arts and more just being a teacher of all sorts. And speaking of that, I just got hired at ONE, Olympic Nature Experience, which is a outdoor preschool here in Sequim in Port Angeles. And I'm a substitute, so I'm not fully committed. I'm just a sub, which is perfect for my life and my schedule right now. So, and I'm just trying to take care of myself a lot right now, just doing yoga and this dance class I like to do and getting massages with my favorite Scott Thayer as often as I can. And while I'm in Port Angeles, I'm like, I wanna enjoy all the things that are on the peninsula while we live here, because I don't know how long we will live here. So may as well enjoy it. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And just being a mom of 3 crazy boys. And yep, that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Danny. Yeah, you have been just well, I think everyone, Dave may not know, but you were and still are a pivotal core player in Tribal Edge. Yeah, so thank you. Always grateful. Speaking of which, gratitude. One of the core routines that we practice in the journey and all of our Tribal Edge training is the practice of gratitude. And so these meetings, as I said, they're kind of experimental. I'm going to be tweaking them as we go, just kind of see what works and how it works. But doing some of these connective practices, the checking in, even that little game we played first, and gratitude are really something that create the space for what I refer to as the journey to exist. And so we're going to at least start with those things. And even if that was all it was, if that's all it is, I think it's a worthwhile time together because of the state it creates and the connection it creates. And hopefully whatever you're going on to next will, even if it's going to bed, will be more better. So let's do a little bit of gratitude. I'm just going to do a short Thanksgiving address, and I may ask if anyone wants to share something that they're grateful for, but just briefly, part of it is to, listen to the story, but really it's to let the story awaken your own sense of gratitude and appreciation within you. And so let yourself kind of develop a little mind's eye picture of your own interpretation of the story as I share it, and let those feelings come up. Just notice it and see how it shifts you. It's one of the practices I think that, even though we do it a lot, I think it's highly overlooked because it is, I think, probably one of our more powerful nature connection practices, meaning connecting to the rest of nature, because it's humbling. It leads us into a kind of a connective mindset, so we can see all of the interrelations, and it draws us out of our own little narrow world of ourselves, so that we can be part of wherever we're at. So, which is important when it comes to living with the earth type skills, survival, and so anyway, I'm feeling grateful in this moment to have you guys show up. I honestly didn't expect anyone to show up, so I was just going to do a recorded call solo. And but yeah, it's nice to see your faces and to hear where you're at and just get a sense of, just remember, like, man, all these people I know and all of the things they're doing and their lives are so, meaningful and important, and um, just extending that beyond this little group out into the world, like thinking of everyone in the world that's, living their life and has similar concerns and needs and desires, and really doing the best they can. So I'm just thankful and appreciate all the humans on the planet right now. I also thank the earth, Mother Earth. We wouldn't, we are an extension of the earth, but we also would not have emerged without Mother Earth. Through ancient time, thinking of the rocks, I'm looking over at one of the rocks I have here in my little lab that's connected to the ancientness of the origins of the planet. All the rocks have been around for so long, going through this old ancient cycle of geological cycle. And some of them are, the earth itself is still cooling from its formation, and this very dynamic, slow but dynamic, beautiful process. And out of that, we have, where the soil interfaces with the sky, we have this layer of earth that is able to grow stuff and to support life. So I'm thankful for all the forms of life that are on the surface of the earth, and the insect world and the plant world and the animal world and all of the moving, living creatures. Also thinking of the water, thinking of how these rainy spring days, the puddles that collect, and just the other day we were out at the land and it was so humid. We're just like, oh man, so much water in the air right now. And then seeing all the droplets on all the little tree buds and stuff, and the sunshine this morning, and feeling the water in my own body. And just before this, I was down at the river, wading across the river and noticing actually it wasn't even that cold this time of year. So just thankful for all the forms of life and the waters that connect them all on this earth. Does anyone else feel good about all those things?
Yeah.
Yay. I'm thankful too for the atmosphere. I mentioned the sky, but the sky is kind of a general direction. The atmosphere is this space that supports us directly. It feeds all living things with oxygen and connects us all with the weather. It also protects us from, the cosmic radiation that would otherwise destroy life. And so I'm just thankful for the invisible atmosphere that is surrounding us, and on out into the rest of our universe, past our solar system, the stars and the sun, our closest star, but also the rest of the stars and galaxies and everything you can imagine in every direction throughout this universe. All the space, the time, the matter, and the energy that it represents. And that's a lot of things. That's a big jump from here. So, but I'm feeling thankful for my place in that, and also the mystery that also is. When I see these shows on TV like Cosmos, or these different documentaries that are like journeys through the universe, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so big and so far and so old. It's always a beautiful, it's just so beautiful and wondrous. So I'm thankful for all of that, and which we might call material or physical. Anyone else feel good about all that? Also want to acknowledge and thank all of the laws of the universe, the things that make things happen. There's these kind of unseen forces, principles, and causes and constraints that allow things to operate the way they do. And when they all come together, life has emerged, which is a pretty amazing story. Here we get to be this part of the universe that gets to reflect upon itself for a little while in some corner of a galaxy, which is just a pretty what do you call it? Unlikely event, but it happened. Here we are. So I want to thank all of the relations too, and that realm of existence that is subtle and invisible and sensed. You might call it spiritual, but I'm thankful for all of the ways that we are connected and all of the meaning that we can find in that. And I also want to thank the great mystery, the cause and the source of all of those things and anything else I haven't mentioned. So, does anyone else feel good about any of those things?
Yes.
All the things I didn't mention. There's a lot of things.
All the things.
If anyone has one, you can just throw it out there. I mean, there's like spatulas, thankful for those. Kangaroos,
Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi, thank you. The tools, yes,
the
big
tools.
category. So, well, cool. With that, we're gonna say our minds and hearts are joined through this interweb amazing tool, the digital campfire. I find it interesting how, with practice on here, I'm starting to be able to connect with people in deeper ways than when I started. It seemed kind of funky and weird at first, but now it's like, wow, I can really kind of like I'm hanging out with people, which is pretty amazing. Us humans can adapt. So, okay, that's all I had planned. kind of honestly is. But part of that's on purpose because there are a few changes, and one of those changes I'd like to talk about is kind of the way that I'm offering and running the journey. So I did make a video, David, this might be relevant to you. I made a video that kind of outlines kind of what the journey is, more or less, but I don't think it's complete. And maybe I'd like to actually just kind of open up for any Q&A time. Just you guys have any questions or thoughts or things you want to share. We could even just do remember when, that kind of stuff too. But I'm trying to keep this relevant and specific to the journey. One kind of exciting thing is that I've been working with a business coach and marketing coach who's become a friend and for the last 6 months or so. And, as I've been taking him through this process of what I do, he got more and more interested. In fact, he started training with me and now he's also a client. So that's kind of fun. So we're helping each other. But, there was a few times when I would share a layer of Tribal Edge and he's like, wait, what? Like, say that again. Like, what was that? He's like, and we got to redo everything, that kind of thing, kind of like happened several times. But what we kind of started to center around is the journey program as being like a central feature of Tribal Edge and being the way that I'm going to begin to basically represent Tribal Edge as just the journey. So all of the disparate aspects and parts and pieces that are in my mind very connected are going to be more easy to understand and hopefully more accessible within the framework of the journey. So basically that's what we do now, or that's what I do now, is the journey. And so I'm rebuilding websites and all kinds of stuff, but I'm making this interactive platform that's actually a place where we can have kind of, it's a website, but it has online community options, online store, like some really cool what else is on there, courses. It's like an online school. It's all in this one platform, so it's way better than a website for people that are not local or just want to access stuff on there. So I will be able to do a online version and then also like a hybrid version. So people that live around here want to come to core classes or labs and stuff can still do that. But so that's kind of a big change. And then the other is that it's I'm running it in a little more of a, I don't want to say it's not necessarily less structure, but it kind of is. It's in more of a complex way, which means there's still a process. There's still like a seasonal unfolding of events, but there's not a linear progression. So that's going to mean that people could actually enter the program or the experience at any time, and then do different segments of it even. So there's a question, a hand up. This is awesome. Okay, so yeah, be thinking of your questions. I hope, David, you have some. But anyway, so I just want to start with those couple things, and then great, this gives me a reason to not have to think of something. Go ahead, Danny, what you got?
My question was, so you said that people that are nearby can come and do the hybrid version of it, but what about people that are, live further away? Is there any like camping options for them, or places to stay if they want
So glad you
to?
asked. Yeah. Yeah, actually, so
Because I've got some friends in Ellensburg. They might,
yeah,
I
right,
don't know.
right. Yeah. So what's probably gonna how I have it, the vision of it right now is these layered levels of participation. So the simplest, like lowest version would just be an online, someone who just wants to like plug into it, participate maybe in these calls online, do an online course, and just kind of do it kind of buffet style, whatever they want. But basically these are like memberships. So one's just like super affordable membership where you just do some online stuff and doesn't require a lot of time from me or anything. So another level is deeper online membership. So it's like you get most of the things, but you may not come up for like the physical classes. But to answer your question, yes, there is the core, actually the heart of the experience is going to, instead of being the year-long journey where everyone's coming to everything all the time, the heart of the experience is 4, because there's 4 seasons, 3-day weekends that are basically going to crunch the seasonal core classes or the seasonal journey experience into a weekend. And that'll be our in-person training, which really is kind of, like I said, the heart of it. And then for the people that are attending those, the online stuff and the calls even will be kind of supporting and supplementing and unpacking that experience. So, which I think will also benefit people that are just doing online, because they'll have kind of through those experiences, get to get some of that. It'll rub off and maybe inspire them to come. So yeah, those would be the heart of it. Just one per season. And so say that. As far as camping, yeah, it'll be, come stay for 3 days. But there's also, the hotel nearby. There's ways for the folks that, are beyond the camping. If that's, older folks or whatever, The land is also going to have power and probably Wi-Fi soon. So that's weird, but
Ew.
I know, kind of strange, huh? There's always a switch. I can just go clunk. Okay. No, it doesn't. But yeah. How about you, Michelle?
I have multiple questions. My first is, are you going to do a spring quest?
At this point, no. I had one scheduled for next month, but I had one person and not enough lead time to so no. But
Okay.
I might do one for me. But I am planning
Can I hang out in the tree
fall.
next door?
Yeah, I'm hearing you need a quest. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, maybe.
Cool.
As long as nobody makes me go back to work anytime soon, then yeah.
That's the perfect time to do it, when you don't have that on the other end.
Right? It gives me a reason to say no, I can't start till June.
There you go. Yeah. We'll tell you what,
Uh,
you are welcome to come anytime and
Okay.
sit by a tree.
Okay.
I mean,
I might just come out for like a day.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I would recommend that, actually. That would be a good way to also kind of tell if you really want to do a quest, is just kind of do a day. That's
Okay.
what I do. When I'm like, I think I need to quest, I go sit for like a day or a half a day. I'm like, nah, guess I didn't.
Meh. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Got it.
I tried it last year. I can't do it on my own. I need somebody to make me sit by my tree for 4 days.
It
So.
helps to protected quest. It's different.
So then my other question is, last year you very generously gave me a class for me and my niece for my birthday.
Yeah.
Can I like triple my birthday present and bring Danny and Grant and the boys
That would be
and just have a
awesome.
day play at the land?
That would be awesome. Let's do it.
Because I have no agenda for my private class. I just
Yeah.
want to bring the kids out and play in the dirt and climb some trees, and
Totally.
it'd be fun to have.
But it would be more like keep the twins alive
Yeah.
class, because
Yeah.
they'd just be like jumping in the creek.
Here's the thing: we'd have 5 children. We just like send them off into the land and see what happens.
We'll keep the ones that come back, and
Yeah, we'll give them some sticks and see which ones come back at the end of the day.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right,
Yes.
we'll work it out.
Pick a time. Anything else while we're in question land? So probably the question, well, what is it? What is the journey? Yeah, yeah. I could feel that. A very good question, because it's very the journey, like the thing, if I can call it that, the process that I'm actually promoting here or offering, selling here is not really a thing. It is a process, and it's something that sneaks up on you in a way. It's a emergent process. So it's something that also kind of takes on a life of its own, and it also, another way of looking at it is like becomes, it's something that is greater than the sum of its parts. So having said all those things, what the heck is it? It takes on a life of its own. It's some sort of process, and it's greater than the sum of its parts. What does that sound like? You know, if you think about it, it sounds like most living things. Well, all living things are actually. So it has kind of the properties of a living thing, and so in that way, it's a little bit hard to predict. Well, it's very hard to predict how it's going to go or what's going to happen exactly. But I can tell you that some of the things that the ingredients that we start with that kind of make it come to life like that. So the ingredients are basically a game. So it's like playing a game that's at the same time a puzzle, and at the same time also almost like an improv game too. So you're with doesn't that sound fun? So you're with a group of people, and you have some maybe long-term vague idea of what you're getting into, but some near-term challenges, tasks, or courses or objectives to do. And in that process of doing those things and doing them together within a group, you start to realize that you are on a journey, what I call a journey. It's like this unfolding process. So that part is actually the thing that I'm trying to give. All of the ingredients are what most people see to start with. And so the ingredients, I would say, actually, maybe Danny could explain some or help, describe some of her experience, although it has changed a lot, but some of the ingredients remain the same. Some of the ingredients include, like, just to give you a sense of what I mean, Danny, like learning skills that help you connect with the earth and kind of reawaken and remember your primal side. The things that start to wake up your primal wisdom and and give you the ability to connect with yourself and with the earth in a way that's like maybe you forgot, or it's been a long time. You were doing it when you were a kid. So there's all of these ways of being that we've basically really lost. They've just kind of gone dormant and they've gone quiet. And it happens generally as we grow up, as we become adults, we kind of forget how to play, we forget how to, you know, be curious. We forget how to be excited and passionate. You know, we forget how to have fun. We forget, all these things that actually we, as adults, we, I miss, and when I'm not feeling those ways, like I currently miss jumping off of roofs as an example, because that made me just feel so alive. I felt like I was flying like Grant's doing, but there's a lot of things that we do as kids that, or as young people, that make us feel really alive and connected. But they're also kind of, when we're unguided as kids too, they're also kind of just, they represent something else. And to me, what I think they represent is these deeper skills and practices that we used to have and use collectively as tribes and societies, that were literally giving us a living. Like these are the skills of, knowing what kind of plants are edible or medicinal, or, knowing how and when to harvest food, and knowing how to understand and read the ground and the information, read the environment around you, like a book. So like the skills of tracking, and that give us like a literacy into nature that actually connect us directly. The skills that are relevant to peacemaking and helping us stay safe in conflict, and the skills of healing and connecting with people, and actually the skills of tending the earth, I think, is a big part of it too. The ability to kind of tap into our primal role of being caretakers of the planet. And especially, now when we see all these problems, it's really nice to feel like you can see through the problems into, and let those problems kind of awaken within you the role of the caretaker. So, anyway, there's a lot of skills and kind of information that we cover that way. But I'm gonna let Danny talk here real quick.
Okay, I just had that you answered a lot of my questions too, which was, I was wondering how it's different from when Grant and I did the journey. But I was after you were speaking though, I was thinking, sounds like it's not different, because the principles are still
Right.
the principles, and the tools are still the tools. And so I just wanted to share, just for David, that Grant and I have done the journey, and we were the first group, possibly.
Yep.
And just an aftermath, once again, kind of being vague without giving you a lot of details of exactly what we did. This is actually something we would do, though, what we're doing right now. Like, this sometimes was our class, was just Thanksgiving and check-ins, and then him giving us a nice little nugget, like a tiny one, for us to all kind of like decipher and take into our lives, and then come back the following Monday to be like, hey, this is what I learned from that, or this is where I applied it to my life. And all of us had different backgrounds and different things going on for ourselves, like we do now. And the one thing I just wanted to say, which I've told Ben this before, but it's like every single thing I've learned from the journey, or learned, or it coyoted its way into me. I've definitely applied it to, I'm a math tutor, so I think it's helped me to become a better teacher, and also a better mother. And actually, so my oldest is 8 years old, and some of the stuff that the tools that I was given in Tribal Edge and doing quests and just other intensives, there's some things in parenting. Oh, no, parenting is way harder than, like walking barefoot in nettles. Like, it's hard when you got a 2-year-old like throwing things in your face and feeling not bad about it. And so I feel like everything that I got from the journey has, like, it has appeared in my life at different moments, like, and I especially being in that first group, I think Ben downloaded a lot on us that I was definitely not ready for, however old I was when we did the journey. I don't remember how old I was, but I was in my 20s. And so I wasn't ready for probably most of it. Not that that wasn't, I still think it's great for any age group, by the way, because you're ready for what you're ready for. And then I feel like as the years go on, something will pop up. I'll be like, oh yeah, Ben said that, or Victoria said that. Ben's amazing partner in life. So their voices will pop up later at random times that I never expected, you know, while changing a diaper or something. But yeah, so a lot of the skills, like I love the word primal, but I also like that they're like life skills. They also just kind of teach you how to live your life in a way that it's more fulfilled, I guess, more fulfilled or with more awareness. Like I just have so much more awareness in general in every aspect of my life, which sometimes is a pain in the butt, but other times it's like, oh no, this is really great because now I can choose a different reaction to something, or yeah. And then it's so great too, just like my notebooks. Grant and I both have a lot of notebooks, so it's fun to go back and look through those too and be like, oh yeah, that's useful now, more useful now than it was then. So yeah, I just wanted to share that little bit, and that also thinking that, like, I'm sure the journey is different from how you teach it now, just because you've got so many more years of experience doing it, but it's still the same stuff. Still, I'm sure, knowing you, I'm sure it's the same stuff, but probably even richer now, and probably
Yeah.
put together in sizes that maybe people can handle too. Not that we couldn't handle it, but
Yeah, you did have a unique experience, I will say. For one, you were the first group, so it was like, you know, didn't know even what the parameters were, right? What was possible. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, Danny. Um, yeah, that transfer into life, I think, is one of, there's so many aspects, you know, and that's why we're not going to try and do this in one call. I'm going to do this over several calls to try and share some of these things, but also, you know, make it beneficial or during these calls too. You know, this isn't just like a super long sales pitch. um, so, but yeah, that transferability is key and very important. And really, the point is that the journey is this microcosm of life process of life, of the real journey, the journey that we all live through, and the journey that the universe is going through. But we have this microcosm where we can taste that and kind of apply the principles that we gain in kind of this safe environment and then transfer those out into our lives. See, another hand up. You guys are so participatory. This is great. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to what you guys have said, I have not done the journey because my experience with Tribal Edge in the beginning was when Danny and Grant were going through that process, and y'all were intense, and I was not up for that. But I did take 11 billion courses at Tribal Edge, and what I got from that, it was relearning to be curious about everything. And I can honestly say I have not been bored for over a decade, because
That's awesome.
I can find something interesting in everything, because what I've learned from you and from this community and from these processes is to be curious and to pay attention to what's going on around me, and that is such a gift. So
That's
I am
awesome.
really grateful that that part of my brain was reopened at 30 years old or however old I was. So
Thank you for sharing that. That's actually also very important. That drives the whole thing, is this curiosity. And it sounds like to me you're talking about even wonder, like this,
yeah,
you know, right? Because curiosity
yeah,
is like trying to get the answer, you know, and wonder is like this enjoying this like state of like, what? Like this keeps going,
that's the
like, you know.
coolest piece of dirt I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
like letting everything before you expand, you know, and And in that too, in that process, there's a connection to sacredness, because it's when things become more and more meaningful and consistently meaningful, like you can go to a tree and keep learning from the tree, keep connecting to it in meaningful ways. I believe that's the source of what makes something sacred, so our ability to tap into ourselves, into each other, and the earth that way, I think, is profoundly important, to kind of heal some of the symptoms of the separation sickness that's going on. Yeah. Thank you for that, Michelle. So I'm noticing it's 7. I think I'm going to probably keep these around an hour for now, but does anyone have any last minute or last words or thoughts or questions before we start to land? Danny? Or clapping. That's not a hand, that's clapping. I'm learning to speak Zoom. I'm still
That's what my kids do on our Zoom meetings.
really,
They do the emojis. Yeah. But no, thank you. This was wonderful.
yeah.
You have
Thank you.
kids. Oh, you're signing kids. Okay.
My
No.
no, my math tutoring kids.
Got it. You
Yeah.
kids. Okay.
Well, yeah, thank you. I wish I had, I mean, I have questions, but I don't know where to place them into, and
Do you want to just try throwing one wild one out just in case? Doesn't
what
have to be
kind,
organized.
so okay, so like I've watched some of your YouTube videos and things like that, and so one thing that I have been using or is that, so you mentioned this in one of your YouTube videos, it was the sacred pause. So I know that as a practice sort of thing. What practices would you start with, like other practices that you sort of, the first season? I know
Yeah.
that's like getting right into the,
It's okay.
or I
No,
don't know.
actually, that's part of why I put those out on Zoom. So I actually have a short series in the Primal Lab playlist on YouTube, and it has the basic core routines. So there should be like 5 of them maybe. So basically, I would start with the sit spot. So I have one on that. And are you familiar with that through like Tom Brown or
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, I have a sit spot. That's one thing I do have.
Yeah. So there's like the literal, basically getting acquainted to your sit spot. But then there's the
Yeah,
practice of, okay, what do we do here, right? So there's all of the practices that happen within the sit spot. And so that's where
right.
we start to layer some of these things. And that's what I meant earlier by the parts take on or become greater than the process becomes greater than the sum of its parts. So you layer the sit spot with, say, another one, which was the sense meditation. That's another one of the videos, as a practice. And then you might layer into that the fox walk, and then into that the sacred pause, as you've found. That's kind of the sequence I usually teach it in, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's kind of how you find them. But
Okay,
and then
yeah.
you start to look at these things as like, okay, they're physical practices, like try them on, but take them into your life, like even kind of symbolically and metaphorically, that starts to become interesting as well. So that's another
Mm,
shift or another layer of their teaching. So
yeah,
but anyway, those are the core
that's,
ones I would start
yeah,
with.
okay. What just came up in my mind is like, I've read about the sit spot through John Young, and but when I was watching your, like, one thing you mentioned in one of your videos is like walking towards your sit spot, and when you feel like, I think it was something like when you feel that you've entered your sit spot, sort of that boundary, and that I had never come across, that I had never come across yet until then. But yeah, I
Cool.
kind of, I like that.
Have you played with that at all?
Not quite yet. I've done the sacred pause, like, or I probably was doing it beforehand, but just wasn't noticing. But like
Yeah.
that, noticing like when you're crossing some kind of, when you enter the forest or some kind of boundary.
Yes.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's an example of, well, that practice there has so many transferable things, but it starts to open up a whole nother, actually, I just remembered I have another video on there that's called Nature Connection. And it's got an exercise that is related to that. But part of what that's doing is it's challenging your ordinary perception, I guess, of, we tend to see things as objects, and it starts to reveal relationships and starts to reveal processes. And that kind of thinking, it's more of a right brain kind of oriented thinking, is really a doorway into nature connection and into kind of this primal perspective I'm talking about. And it ties in with that sacred pause, because if you approach, we do it with people. If you approach a person, there's an appropriate distance to kind of stand from someone, right? And that may change depending on the situation, right? So, and that's why I would like to use those connective practices within the Zoom context. We don't have some of those natural feedback systems. We just have this weird screen. So how do we connect and do our normal like integration? So when you learn to do that in the wild, you are starting to become, in a sense, nature literate. Like you're actually starting to participate in a way that the birds and all the animals and even the plants are going, oh, okay, this guy's part of this. He's part of this system. He gets it, right? Because there is this honoring of boundaries going on and all this invisible stuff that people just kind of forgot about. And all the animals are still playing it. And so once we start to remember and wake those things up, we kind of slip into the rest of nature, and cool stuff starts happening. So anyway, that's just to say a little on that. But yeah, those practices are what I call the core, or actually I got from John Young as the core routines. And then, I mean, from my own playing with them for the last 30 years or whatever, I've discovered some nuance within them that I like to share. It's things that have become important to me, which is stuff like, what you heard on that video about pausing at the threshold of your sit spot, and there's all kinds of things like that. So those are some of the little subtler layers of things that we kind of dissect and get into throughout the journey. Is, we start with the basics, and then we kind of refine that and you develop your own relationship to it. So I'm not telling you how it works necessarily, which is why I'm kind of avoiding telling you everything and what it means, but basically setting up scenarios so that you encounter experiences and can make your own discoveries in your own relationships. And that's super key to the journey process. So anyway, guys, I think, unless one last chance, I think we're going to wrap it up. So thank you all.
Can't wait to dig into David's brain in a couple months to see how his process goes without being physically at the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
So, well, we'll add another layer next time if you can make it. Feel free to share with anyone. I'm just going to kind of organically and slowly start building this up. And one more thing to, I guess, say as far as new, it's not really new either, but it's been revealed as important to me, is that in some way, kind of that take on a life of its own thing, is that it becomes kind of self-organized too, where people are participating in a way that it feeds back into the group. So, at some point, that's just one of the things. One of my goals is that people, it becomes one of those places that feeds you and isn't something that you just have to like remember to do, So I'm going to hopefully set it up so that that's what happens. So we'll see. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. See
Thanks
you next
all.
time. Have a good night.
You.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I leave?